Yeah, so her objective was to go to school and just be like, I'm gonna terrorize these people by any means necessary. Every day it was a shit show, like how it was at the old school. So at this point, I'm feeling like, oh my god, I just sold my house for no reason. This child is still having problems. This is crazy. So the problems weren't just at school, it was at home. And at this point, she's developed into a bigger young lady. And I realized that when I would go to say like, hey, give me your phone, give me your phone, this is a punishment. It went from her being erratic in her behavior or trying to steal the phone back to now she's like basically sizing me up. So if I take it, she's on my back, on my shoulders, and she's following me around, bombarding me, saying, give me back my phone, give me my stuff. And I'm like, hey, you need to back off. And yeah, it was the intimidation, right? During this time also, she began to do like bullying in the form of at home. She began to do bullying in the form of like coming into my room, going through my things if I wasn't in the room or if I wasn't in the house. I don't know what she's looking for, but she's going through my stuff. If I have something, she would just take it. I'm like, oh, where's my stuff at? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, you have my stuff. Like, I'll go through her stuff. And I'm like, it's right here. You're hiding it in your stuff. And she's like, I didn't put that there. And I'm like, her ghost did. Okay. So, I'm like, oh my God. So, the school is at this point like, hey, she needs to be connected to a therapist and psychiatrist. I'm like, I agree. I'm like, 'cause something is up with this because she's doing this stuff at school and she's doing it at home. Like, this is crazy. And so she hooks up with a therapist and psychiatrist at school. They evaluate her to see if like maybe she needs an IEP. Is it like anything going on with learning? They're like, no, she's very intelligent. It was this one teacher who was at the school, and he was a male teacher. And when she first got there, he messaged me and was like, "Hey, she's doing great. She's just trying to get around the wrong circle of friends." And so I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll try my best to persuade her, like, those aren't the people that you should hang with, and you got a lot of potential and things like that. So then he started to reach out to me because he began to notice her behaviors of gaslighting teachers. Like if they hold her accountable for her actions as far as not listening and being in the hallway and stuff, she would gaslight the teachers or plant seeds with other teachers to make it seem like there's an injustice being done to her, or like yeah, there's injustice being done to her. So I'm working with this teacher, and he used to be a psychiatrist. I'm working with him, and he's like, well, hey, let's put together a reward system and things like that. And so as I'm working with him, Morgan is noticing that I'm, communicating with these people around the school. They're noticing some traits that she had that's a little bit off, and she doesn't like it at all. So her goal at this point is to isolate me. And so her goal in isolating me was to then make me feel like she would come to me and say, when I go to school, they ask me, is everything okay at home? And I'm like, well, why are they asking you that? I don't know, but it's really weird. It's the same thing how it was at the last school and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know why they would be asking you if there's anything going on at home, because I talk to these people around at the school. But that was a way of her planting a seed of trying to instill fear in me. Like, maybe I should stop talking to these people and getting them involved in what was going on at home as far as the abuse was happening on my end, so that I could shut the hell up and she could continue to do what she wants to do without me being able to get help. And so the teacher who was helping me out and trying to figure out what was going on with my daughter and letting me know, like, what she was doing at school on the psychiatrist level, what he had noticed, she made a false accusation about him because she had gotten in trouble about taking her phone back from me. She wasn't supposed to have it. And again, I don't have my phone. Um, so she had taken it back from me. And when I went in her closet, rummaging through the clothes to find this phone to deflect the conversation or the topic at hand and her being held accountable, as far as taking the phone back, she said she made an allegation about the man and stuff like that, but then retract on it and said that hold on, I'm trying to clock out. Situation. It was scary because it showed me to the extent that this child would go to not take accountability, and that for personal gain to deflect the conversation being about what she was doing with, as far as the phone and stuff went, she would go to any extent to get this phone back and not say, hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong. No conscience at all. Like, just, I'm going to say and do whatever. I'm not taking accountability. I'm going to take down whoever. It is what it is. And I'm like, this is scary. During this time, I'm living close to the family, and they're there day to day to see what's going on in the house. And they're noticing the abuse that my daughter's doing, the lying. And it would be over anything and everything. They're also noticing that when my child isn't around me, she's planting seeds. She's, my mother's doing this. My mother did this. My mother said that. Or, y'all don't know this about my mom. And she's trying to paint me out to be like this bad person, this bad parent, unfit, abusive, unruly. Whatever she can get out about me, she's doing it. But then when she comes around me, she's like, hey, Mom. And everybody's looking like, is this true? Because you're telling us behind closed doors this, but when you're around her, you're this way. Really, really weird. And so I had a friend who would spend a lot of time at my house during that time as well, because she didn't feel safe with me being in the house with this little girl by herself at this point. By myself, I'm sorry, at this point. And she's like, I got to be there with my friend because something is wrong with this child. Like, she's abusing her. But I don't think that she ever worded it like that. She just feared for like my safety at this point. So one time there was something going on with me and the child, and I was going through the top of her closet looking for how was she able to get on this day on social media, because you are on punishment, like, and people telling me that you're posting, like, how are you getting on there? So as I'm looking for the device that I later found out she took an old phone and I was up. But as I'm looking for it, the child is following me behind. She's following behind me, like, on my back. At this point, she's sizing me up. And she's like, what are you looking for? You're so weird. What do you got, cameras watching me? And I'm like, what? So I'm like, ain't nobody got no cameras watching me. She's like, you're so weird. You're a weirdo. And she's trying to, I guess, like, get a reaction from me. I don't know. It got a reaction out of me, and it scared the hell out of me, because I'm like, why the hell do you think I got cameras watching you? Why are you up on my back? You're sizing me up. I'm like, you're literally going to follow me through my apartment as if you own this place, and make me feel intimidated, uncomfortable, and make me feel like what I'm doing is weird because I'm being a mom and I'm saying, hey, no. How are you able to get on the social media because you're supposed to be punished? Weeks before this, I was telling my psychiatrist about the things that my daughter was doing. Like when we would go to leave out of the apartment, and there were steps that go down. And when we would go to leave out, my daughter would hold the door open for me and go to let us out, me and my son. And I would say, come on, because I got to put the top lock on the door. And she'd be like, I put it on, like to say, hand me the keys to put the lock on. So when I said this to my therapist on top of everything else that was going on in the apartment, she started chuckling. And she said, you're playing checkers, she playing chess. She said, that's a form of dominance. She said, is there steps leaving from your apartment? I said, yes. She said, that's dominance. She's dominating you. You're to walk in front of her. She said, don't allow her to do that to you. And I'm like, what the hell? She was like, she's watching you. She's watching everything you do. She's watching when you're vulnerable. She said, do not let her know when you're sad. Do not let her know when you're happy. She said, listen, watch out what you listen to as far as music around her. Watch out what you look at on TV when you're around her. She said, because she's analyzing you. And I'm like, what the fuck? My doctor tells me to put a lock on my bedroom door so that when I'm asleep at night, the door will be locked, and when I leave out of my room, to lock the door to stop allowing her so much access in my space, because she's trying to dominate my space now. So it's no longer when I leave out of my room and it's a, mommy, you need anything, to try to like keep me in my space. It's now, I'm gonna dominate your space as well. Like, I'm gonna come in your room, I'm gonna take whatever I want. When you say something to me, I'm gonna gaslight you, and I'm gonna say, well, I always do this. And I'm saying, you always do it, and I'm telling you not to take my stuff. And she's like, but mom, I always do this. And I'm like, what the fuck, don't you get? And so my doctor is like, she's trying to make you become accustomed to what yours is hers. To take dominance of your place in that house. So that night when she was following me up on my back, she's sizing me up and asking me, do I got cameras watching her and stuff? I lock my bedroom door and I leave. When I come back, because I'm not staying in that apartment with that child, when I come back, my door is like, it's like wood chips all on the base of my door, like at the lock part. So I said, were you trying to break into my room? Now I'm trying to figure out, what was it in my room that she was trying to get? You know, like, what was it? Why did you want to be in that space? And why was it so much importance to you to be in that space? Because I wasn't home. Like, I had left after she was following me around and stuff. I was like, I'm not staying here with this child. And so I didn't get it, but when I asked her, she said, I didn't do that. I said, you were the only person in this apartment. What do you mean you didn't do it? She's like, I didn't do it. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So when I told my psychiatrist about it, she was like, you need to sit in her room while she sleep at night in the dark. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. She said, sit in her room at nighttime in the dark and just sit there. And so I'm like, I'm not doing that. This child is crazy. I'm like, no freaking way, because I'm afraid of this child at this point. I'm like, I don't know if she gonna lie on me and tell people if I do defend myself on, you know, standing up to her and go, hey, you back off. I don't know if she's gonna lie on me and tell people that I'm abusing her. I don't know if she's gonna, you know, be vengeful and just keep planting seeds everywhere, talking about me. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to, like, at this point, stay away from this child. Like, this is crazy. So, now knowing what I know as far as dealing with abuse from a child is that my doctor, when she said, watch what you say, watch what you listen to, watch what you watch on TV around her, and telling me that she was watching me, she was basically trying to make me gray rock. And gray rock, when dealing with an abuser, is that you become so uninteresting, like you become so dull as an individual, that there's nothing entertaining about you that would make this person want to target you as a victim of their abuse. I didn't know that, right? And so, sorry, my dog. So, in the apartment, it was just the gaslighting and the lying and stuff like that just went on, and she just was lying. It was a complete mess, and it began to become overwhelming because it was so many people involved that I was beginning to grow a bigger fear of my child, and it was just too much. It was too many opinions. It was too many people that had their hands in the pot. So I moved again. I moved into another apartment back on the other side of town. So I get here in this apartment, and I send my daughter to school. I connect them with her doctors and stuff like that, as far as her therapist and her psychiatrist. And during this time period, she's off and on, kind of like bouncing between my house and her dad's house, because if she can't have her way here, over there, it's like she can do whatever she want to do. So she's like, whatever fits what she wants in that moment. Um, that's where she wants to be. It's all about personal gain, right, with this abuser. So we get here to this house, and she goes around there to the school, and she's terrorizing these people every day. Now, these people that she's terrorizing every day, they aren't calling, because at this point she's planted the seed around the school and told them that I'm abusing her. So they're like, it's a potential abuse happening in the household, and don't call around there because we got to think about the safety of this child. Now, this all ended one day when I went to go and pick them up from school, and I saw the psychiatrist at the school. And I was like, hey, I was like, how's everything going? And they were like, not so well. This is going on with Morgan and this child, and she's trying to intimidate this child, and it began to her being a bully at school. And so I'm like, what? And they were like, yeah, we didn't call home because when speaking to Morgan, the things that she was telling us was happening at home, we didn't quite know, basically saying they didn't know to call home and then the child be abused or something. And I'm like, what? So now I'm crying, and I'm like, no, I'm afraid of this child. I'm like, my child does whatever she wants to do at my house because I'm afraid of the consequences of trying to correct her. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell? So I'm crying, and I'm telling these people about what's going on at home, as far as the manipulation and stuff. And so it's just so much to cover. But anyways, with the emotional abuse that comes with my daughter, I'll give you some examples of